Greetings to all the students. I welcome you all on the YouTube platform of NEXT IAS, and you are watching Daily News Analysis, an initiative where we discuss important articles published in the newspapers and the PIB. We already have covered that what exactly to be read from the newspapers in our what to read analysis or section. Do follow that. Now with the help of today's daily news analysis video, the topics that we are going to cover are IMEC, Indian Middle East European Economic Corridor, ASEAN, Kakori Train Action Incident, Artificial Intelligence, and in the decoded session we are going to cover India's rising farm export. So now without wasting time, let's focus on the first topic visible over your screen, that how Gaza war delayed IMEC, India's key connectivity plan. So we need to understand what is IMEC exactly and what are the significances, and a third part, either the Gaza war or how Gaza war delayed IMEC or the other reasons associated. So first that we know about this India Middle East European Economic Corridor. So it was announced during the G20 summit 2023 in the month of September, right? To stimulate economic development through enhanced connectivity and economic integration between Asia, Persian Gulf and Europe. Now, it has two parts. The first one is East Corridor, and this East Corridor link India with Arabian Gulf. And then we have the Northern Corridor. And the Northern Corridor connects Arabian Gulf to Europe. So this is exactly of two types. So ultimately connecting the three regions, India, Middle East and the Europe as well. Now what exactly it is? It is actually not a single series or a route, but a sea route will be there, right? Sea routes will be there. Transportation different will be there. Expressways will be there, right? Under cable or undersea cables will be there. So it will be a major initiatives incorporated into the single basket. The purpose will be just to boost the regional integration to smoothen the trade policies or trade connectivity between the three nations, right? Now, what are the significances of this IMEC? So the first significance will be the strong economic bias. How? That IMS is expected to cut the shipping time, or I would say the transportation time. The transportation time by 40% when compared to sea route. Now, with compared to the transportation time, two things important as well. That once it will be there, it will reduce the dependency, or I would say the geopolitical dependency. The geopolitical dependency or Red Sea and Suez Canal. Red Sea and Suez Canal, right? This is the first thing. Along with that as well, with the significance, there are say that it will even reduce the logistic cost. The logistic cost by 30% as well. So ultimately, it will be definitely boom for India's trade sustainability or trade development in future, right? Second, beyond the trade, how it is going to help it? That India plans for electricity and digital connectivity, right? For the pipelines of clean hydrogen export to increase efficiencies, reduce the cost, enhance this economic unity, right? And generate jobs, and it will definitely help in lower the greenhouse gas emissions because we are focusing more on the cleaner energy sides. Third, the trade facilitation goals. It addressed that the lack of corridor-wide tariff standardization, low financial integration, absence of unified insurance and uneven port capacities. So it will ultimately bridge the gap between the underdeveloped cross-Saudi area rail links between the sea legs, right? So this is definitely going to be this kind of significant, but there are if you go with this aspect, but there are certain challenges as well. What kind of challenges? The first challenge is that Israel and Jordan link, and the second is Saudi and Israel normalization unlikely. How? Israel-Jordan link, it has been deteriorated. How? Because there has been a pressure on the Jordan to give refugee or the help to the Palestinians, right? Third, Saudi-Israel, because the Saudi is saying that you need to give concessions for Palestine, right? But Israel is definitely not, echoing with the voice of the Saudis. Rather, it has been printed in the news that Israel has said that I'm going to, for the full-time military scale against to capture the Gaza, because they have certain long-term plans as well. So now the Israel's long-term plans are not coordinating with the long-term plans of Jordan and the Saudis as well. Third as well, for the regional instability. Regional instability. How regional instability? Because you know that the Israel's now the aggression has gone beyond the this Palestine. How it has reached to Lebanon, the Egypt, Iraq, Syria, and Iran mostly nowadays, right? We have witnessed that there was an attack on the nuclear site of the Iran as well. So we witnessed that there is a growing regional instability going on in the Middle East area. So that is the reason we may say that it is definitely unlikely for India to manage the situation and get this IMEC to get started. And this is that what topic was ultimately talking about. And perhaps this is the main reason that India has been continuously asking that all the stakeholders to maintain decency and stop the war, right? Now, this is all about this significant aspect related to it, right? And at last, this is one practice question visible over your screen. Do practice it and let us know this as well in our message section. Now, jumping to the second topic, which is the ASEAN, right? This is India-ASEAN officials to begin fresh round of talks to review trade agreement today. Important for GS2. Now, why this is important? Because you know that there has been tariff issues, or I would say 50% tariff from the side of USA towards India, right? Simple. But now India has left with only two things. First, focus of trade, trade diversification. That means India need to now diversify the sources where it can import, right? So that the trade volume will be intact and the smooth flow of trade will be there as well, right? Why this is more important? Because you know that India, although this news is not very clear, but there has been certain say that our defense ministers even has said something regarding the USA's plan, right? The Prime Minister has stopped talking to the Donald Trump on the phone itself. There are certain news like this on the newspapers. So we may say that the trade is definitely not going round and round between the US and the India. So perhaps that is the reason that India has started the diversification. And this article in this context only. So now, what is this ASEAN? So it is a political and economic organization aimed primarily at promoting economic growth and regional stability among its members. Which members? Southeast Asian members. How many countries are there? 10 members are there. 10 members. This number 10 is important with respect to your prelims. And I remember UPSC, in my first UPSC interview, one of the member, he categorically asked me that name the 10 members of the ASEAN, right? So members are Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Myanmar, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand and Vietnam. It started with the Bangkok Declaration in 1967. Again, very important information, right? Now, founding members are Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand. Only 5 are the founding members. Only 5 are the founding members. And thereafterwards, other countries met into the ASEAN, right? First summit was 1976 in Bali, Indonesia. Again, important, right? And one more important with respect to the prelims, that ASEAN has free trade agreements with 6 key partners: China, South Korea, Japan, India, Australia, and the New Zealand as well. Now, how do we say that the India-ASEAN relations are going? But before that, there are certain data that you need to understand. Data that for say there is a rising deficit between the India and ASEAN relationship. How? That it is around 45 to 2 billion in 2025 to 2425. So rising debt. So second, the export to India, it grew 1.7% annually. 1.7% annually. Plus the import to India, it grew around 7.5% annually, right? So ultimately you see that import is higher, export is lesser. That is the reason we may say that the trade deficit is definitely rising, right? So in this context, we may understand the India-ASEAN relationship as well in different contexts, right? Second, one more thing as well, that there is a tariff inequality as well. Tariff inequality. Why tariff inequality? Because that there are say that India opened 71% of tariff lines, right? But on the other hand, the ASEAN, for say one of the example is like Indonesia. Indonesia has only opened for 40% of the lines for the trade equality. So this is this general perception that the trade with ASEAN nations is not feasible to India and not sustainable as well. So India need to look into this part, right? So this is just the example that you need to look into the economic context. But now the India-ASEAN relationship, how? First, India-ASEAN dialogue partnership, that India became a sectoral dialogue partner in 1992 and a full dialogue partner in 1996, right? Framework Agreement of Comprehensive Economic Cooperation, it was signed in second ASEAN-India Summit in Bali, Indonesia, which laid the groundwork for the transport, services and investment agreement. Very important, this thing is very important, that India-Asia Trades in Goods Agreement 2009, effective from January 2010, it aimed at reducing, eliminating tariffs on 80% of traded products, right? Last, ASEAN-India Services and Investment Agreement, it came into force in July 2015 and aimed to liberalize the market access for service providers and certain investors between India and Asia and ASEAN from both the sides, right? So maintaining the feasibility will be one of the major aspects between India-ASEAN services and investment agreements, right? Now, ASEAN and India free trade agreements, again the combination of goods, services, investment agreement, right? So it will be it will be boost to the trade. Connectivity issues are there, that India-ASEAN air transport agreement is under discussion. Trilateral highway project India, Myanmar, Thailand with plans to extend to the Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam. One more thing as well, here two major initiatives that you need to understand. The first one is BIMSTEC, second one is BBIN. India has been trying proactively to make sure that these two initiatives will definitely become a link with the ASEAN as well. So ultimately it will be a prosperity for the northeast states of India, and especially afterwards when the government has specifically created one ministry, right? It shows that the government of India's focus more towards the northeastern states, and that is why the the relationship between the northeast states with the neighboring countries like Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, and go on will definitely need to attach, right? For that perspective, BIMSTEC, BBIN, and the ASEAN. This link has to be there, which will definitely helpful for the India in the near future, right? So this is this all aspect with respect to the India and ASEAN. You need to understand this thing gradually. Now this is one of the the PYQ that you people need to understand, right? And one practice question as well, which is visible over your screen. Do follow this thing, right? Third is the Kakori Train Action, right? Prime Minister pays tribute to the courage of patriotic Indians at Kakori on his centenary, right? This is the 100th anniversary of the Kakori Train Action, or I say incident. Whenever we say that something is in the multiple of 10, it becomes automatically very important for UPSC. Right now, with this perspective, we need to look into this Kakori action, what it was and how it framed the or helped the future course of action. Now, so it took place on 9th of August 1925 near Kakori railway station, which is present in the Uttar Pradesh. Carried out by the HRA, Hindustan Republic Association, to protest British exploitation and raise funds for the revolutionary activities. And you must not forget that is the time when the non-cooperation movement of Gandhiji was going on. It aimed to loot government treasury transported by the train, money collected through heavy taxation on the Indians. So this was the mindset of those HRA people, that we need to loot the money that was collected from the side of Indians as well, so that they can justify or they can use it for the betterment of the Indian people. The money which belongs to the Indian people must work for the Indian people benefits as well. So that was just a very, very basic, the aim. So what are the leaders involved in it? Leaders were Ram Prasad Bismil, Ashfaq Ullah Khan, Chandrasekhar Azad, Rajendra Lahiri. These were very, very, very major parts, right? Very major people. Now, train and the punishment. This is now very important. There was a massive British crackdown followed. Most conspirators were arrested within a month. And there was some death sentence. This question is with respect to the prelims is very important. There's Ram Prasad Bismil, Ashfaq Ullah Khan, Rajendra Lahiri, Thakur Roshan Singh was given the death sentence. Chandrasekhar Azad remained underground, although he was died in the Ajapa that was there in the Prayagraj at the moment, right? And Sachindranath Sanyal, Sachindranath Bakshi, and other people will get the life imprisonment. Now the impact that this Kakori incident occurred. First and the foremost is, if you remember, that Gandhiji took off its movement because of the Kakori incident. So it has a very significant impact on the Gandhian movement, upon the grassroots movement in India as well. First thing. Second, it created martyrs, those sacrificed inspired future revolutionaries by Bhagat Singh, because Bhagat Singh after that joined the joined HRA and framed this HSRA, right, in 1926, 26. Intensified the revolutionary movement and exposed flaws in the British justice. It led the rebranding of HRA in 1928 as Hindustan Socialist Republic Association, the point I just narrated, and became a rallying cry across, uniting people in the condemnation of the British repression. Remember the HSRAs, they used to make certain certain jhankiyan, certain streets place, something where they more focus on Indian unity. They were more focused on Indian unity. So ultimately, they were definitely going against the British opposed policy or the dividing policy between Indians, Hindus and the Muslims. So this has a very great impact upon the Indian freedom struggle, right? Then later recognition, just for your understanding, the Kakori Martyrs Memorial now stands at the site. In 2021, the Uttar Pradesh government renamed the event as Kakori Kand to Kakori Train Action in honor to add a deliberate revolutionary act, and year-long centenary celebration launched in 2021, which includes exhibitions, the postal covers, the festivals and different things intact. Now again, this is a practice question visible over the screen. Do practice it. Now the fourth topic is artificial intelligence, right? Again, UPSC says that all do we have in the fields as a development in the computers will be good for the UPSC examination, and artificial intelligence is one that topic. Earlier as where we have witnessed that artificial intelligence has been asked by the UPSC in paper for ethics in good governance and different aspects. So we know that artificial intelligence is a kind of the hot key nowadays that UPSC definitely need to look at. So we need to understand it. But before we go about this, the news aspect, we need to understand a little bit aspect of the history as well. For say, there was a person called John McCarthy, and he in 1956 gave the definition, or gave one very crucial information, I would say, regarding that the science and engineering of making intelligent machines. So this is the information, this is the definition that he gave in 1956, that the science and engineering of making intelligent machine should be the core aim of the AI in near future. Right now we are knowing that there are so much areas included. So ultimately AI, it creates systems that can, we may say that it creates systems, right? It creates systems that can operate autonomously, adapt to changing conditions, and improve over time without effective programming. So point is, when machine started thinking, right? So artificial intelligence, this is the concept. Now moving ahead, again, it refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think, learn, recreate, and make decisions like humans, something like this. Now there are too many different types. The first is regenerative, second is generative. What is generative and regenerative? The generative AI is, it's simple, it creates contents as a text, images, music, codes, videos. Based on the patterns it has learned from the data. How it works? It uses the large data sets and machine learning models to generate the original output. The more often that we have in the form of, for say, the large language models, generative artificial additives, right? So example, we may say that the chat GPT, whenever we try to ask chat GPT to write an essay or something, right? Nowadays there are chat GPT, Note, LM, Gemini, or different parts. So ultimately what they are asking, you ask a question, whatever they have in their mind, what in their mind, they need to reread it from the top 20 pages of the internet, the open sources, right? They get the information and they give you the information into the reflective mode, whatever you have given the prompt. So this is the generative. Now, what is the regenerative? The regenerative is that AI not only generates but improves, corrects, restores data to a better states, often iteratively, right? So this time it is now on a auto correcting mode. This is regenerative AI. How it works? It can use the reinforcement learning, the feedback loops, the self-healing algorithms to refine the results, often applied in adaptive systems that maintain or restore performance over time. The examples for say the AI that fixes and improves code automatically after detecting bugs, or creating climate modeling AI that constantly edges on the new environment data. I will like to give two more examples here to make sure that you understand how exactly the AI is being used in a positive manner and how it was dealt with certain flaws as well. So the first example I would like to give is the crowd management in Varanasi. What crowd management in Varanasi? That during the Kashi Vishwanath corridor opening moment, right? The administration actually used certain international companies for the effective AI predictive analysis. So what they do, They do that AI based predictive analysis and thermal imaging. The users of two make the administration understand that in coming 15 to 20 minutes, this is the probable number of people that will be visiting the corridor. So based on this thing, the rerouting of the lanes, the opening and the shutting of the doors will taking place effectively. And a lack of the gathering at the moment was handled easily. This is this aspect of the crowd management. This is the reality of the regenerative AI. Second, picture इतनी अच्छी भी नहीं है. There is another flaw as well. What flaw? That it was again in a very different way was used by the Delhi police as well. It was used by Delhi police for, we know that, facial recognition controversy. Delhi police use this AI just to get the information regarding the writers with the help of this facial recognition controversies. But after it proved out to be negative. Wow, because the wrongful people were adapted. So the point is that although AI gives a lot of information and the help to the administration, but it is still on a very nascent stage. The more used, the more effective use, I would say, would be needed to be handled in a better interoperability with the different machines as well, right? Now, with India's efforts, the India's AI machine objective: build robust AI infrastructure, improve data quality, develop indigenous AI technology, foster the industry collaboration, ensure that ethical AI practices will be intact as well, right? Right? GPU infrastructure plans to establish a computing capacity of 10,000 plus GPUs, right? GPUs, yes, graphics processing units. And there are certain priority sectors, right, for say healthcare, education, and the governance, the agriculture. These were the part of that as well. Now the initiatives launched under the India AI mission for say AI Kosha, right? India AI computer portals, AI competency framework, I got AI for government officials, and the additional programs, different for say. Now the global initiatives on the AI, right? For say with respect to first India at this moment has no specific plan or mission on AI. No specific mission on AI. But second one, which is very important with respect to, is global partnership of artificial intelligence. This is launched in June 2022, is a multi-stakeholder initiative aimed at bridging AI research and practical applications globally. And it is open to all the countries. And at this moment, perhaps 28 countries are the members of this organization. And India is a founding member, a very important prelims based importance, that India is a founding member, right? Secretariat is hosted by the OECD in the Paris, and it operates through a council steering committee, right? This is this aspect of the global initiative of AI. One more important aspect with respect to the prelims is that its core themes focus on the four areas. First is responsible AI, data governance, future of work, and innovation and commercialization. And then again, the practice question visible over a screen. Do let us know the answers in the box as well. So now let's start the today's decoded topic, which is visible over a screen. This is India's rising farm export. Now the point is that this topic is asking about the rising farm export. That means India must be exporting more farm and farm related commodities to the world. That is why this word is this farm, rising farm exports, right? So now the point is that why government of India is more focused over the farm export over there, right? How exactly this thing contributed into the farm export? The first thing you need to know is that we know that the government of India's focus was more towards doubling the government's income, right? farmers' income, boosting the export, agriculture export policy 2018 categorically talks about 2 and 3/4. The first part, augmenting the income of the farmers, that means doubling the income of the farmers by 2025. Second, they said that increase the production as well of the vegetables and the fruits, the agri-foods, right? Third, enhance at least 2 times the export of government of India towards the different countries, right? And the third is maintain and trying to pacify a simple supply chain mechanism so that the things can be better. But there are certain challenges as well, right? So with this topic, we'll talk about in these three lines altogether. But for certain data, the data that why the government of India's, which shows that government of India's focus is on the agriculture, and the reasons with which we can say that the rising farm export lead to this kind of situation. The data is that for say the agri and allied at this moment contributes to 16% to the GDP. Second, 3.5% of the growth in the second quarter. In the second quarter of 2024-2025, and India very first time witnessed the 5% of the annual growth. So 5% of annual average growth during fiscal 17 to 23. This is the data from the PIB only, and you can use this kind of data in your UPSC answers directly, right? And the food production, the very important thing, the food production is 323 million tons. Again, this is the data of 2024-2025. So we have this kind of initiatives with us, which says that now India's rising farm exports will take place for sure, right? Now, this is again the part that total merchandise export was 437.4 billion, right? Almost 0.1%, right? April-June export were up by 1.7%, which is visible by your table as well. One more table as well, which is very important for say, see, this is the export 39, 35, 41, 50, 53, 48, 51. Now, why this data is important? This data is important because UPSC in prelims exam in statement wise, it has been a a core theme of the UPSC prelim that they give, that statement should be like this, that India has been witnessing continuous agri export in the past 5 years. It could be a statement like this. UPSC ने पहले ऐसे सवाल लगातार पूछे हैं, इसलिए बैठ के मैं आपके बात बता रहा हूं ताकि आप समझ जाएं. So you witness that although there is a consistent, although there is a rise, but this is not consistent rise. 48 was there, 40 35 was there, right? So 2018 to 2014, in the last 6 to 7 years, there has been no continuous rise. So statement agar aisa aata hai, so you need to understand this statement will be wrong. First thing. Second thing, this is now India's top agricultural export items. In agriculture export policy 2018, there was a point that India needs to focus on more export oriented vegetables production aspect, right? For say, the first and the foremost will be this 19.45 and 19.25, the tobacco and the marine products. So again, this percentage wise growth is important rather than the overall aspect, right? This is again very specific links to your prelims exam, not for the mains exam. Now coming how this topic is important for the mains exam. This is now the significance of the India's farm export. First, major foreigner export earner. How? Farm export in 2024 contributed positively to trade balance with 13.4 billion surplus in agriculture, right? Which will be definitely will go against the CAT, right? Or it will reduce, I will say, the CAT. It will help in reducing the trade deficit as well, right? Second, global competitiveness in key commodities. For say, India ranks among top exporters of main products, the rice, buffalo meat, coffee, tobacco, fruits and vegetables, right? So many things are there as well, right? It benefited from global supply shortfalls in coffee and the tobacco. So that is why India is getting edge in these two areas as well. That means in coffee and the tobacco, right? Third, resilience in the adverse global environment. How? That agricultural export outperformed total merchandise exports in 2024-25, right? Next, employment and the rural income support. How? The export demand supports millions of farmers, processors, agri workers, especially in the coastal fishing and horticulture sector. And you know that the government of India recently has introduced the the coastal shipping bill as well, which will be definitely boosting this fisheries industry as well, which is definitely a part of the one of the allied sector of the agriculture, right? So again, a future is a better. Last, scope for the further growth. For say relaxation of the previous export curves after the good monsoon. And you know that government is focusing so much on the irrigation facilities. Irrigation facilities, first thing. Second thing, the government of India was even focusing on the very same thing on the line of agricultural models of languages. That now आज की तारीख में ऐसा होता है कि एग्रीकल्चर इंफॉर्मेशन और एग्रीकल्चर बेस्ड एजुकेशन विल बी इम्पार्टेड बेस्ड ऑन the regional languages through the AIR and the radios, right? One more as well, which is a very important aspect मुझे लगता है जो the government is trying to do is that government's focus is on more on farm mechanization, right? Although it is far behind compared to the country like USA, where more than 90% farm mechanization is there. In Brazil, it is around 58-57% farm mechanization. But India, at this point, is focusing a lot on farm mechanization, right? But there are certain challenges as well in respect to the food export. The first and the foremost challenge is the agri market. What do I mean by the agri market? I mean by this APMC, Agriculture Produce Marketing Committee. Still there are certain lacuna, certain loopholes. Still the farmer is not happy with the pricing or the pricing that has been given by the APMC to the farmer. Still farm gate pricing issues will be intact with the agriculture marketing. Still the distance that should be covered within the parameter or the APMC market, farmer is not reaching out there, right? Still we are witnessing that the proper infrastructure facility in the APMCs are not witnessed. So there are still so many aspects linked to the APMCs, and there has been certain, I must tell you that there has been certain a previous economic based studies as well, which shows that APMC market के अंदर किसानों को बेहद कम पैसा दिया जाता है, even below to the level of the MSP. The reason is that the farmer is not very well aware regarding the MSP. Why? Because 2016 और 17 का भारत सरकार का ही इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ये बोलता है कि देश के अंदर 40% से ज़्यादा मतलब 40% of the farmers in India do not know about the MSP at all. So awareness aspect, APMC aspect, multiple things are there which works at the first line of the challenge. और अगर सरकार इसी first line of challenge को पूरा करती है, then in near future there will be more and more advantage as well. Although the government of India tried to minimize this thing with the help of ENAM, but still there are certain challenges associated. Why? Because the major mandis are not with the part of the ENAM still. So this is the first, the challenge that the farm export is facing at this moment. First thing. Second, the trade policy risk. For say the US 50% import tariffs has been imposed, right? And you witness that Modi Sahab has said that I will die for the farmers, right? But I will definitely not look around the trade agreements which is not feasible for the farmers. So ultimately this kind of geopolitical tensions are definitely going against the agri export at this particular point. Now it might extend to 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, but for 6 months हमारा export तो कम हो जाएगा, right? 6 महीने के बाद हम सोच सकते हैं अभी क्या होगा क्या नहीं होगा. But at this moment the geopolitical situation is definitely against of the agri export. First thing. Second, global price volatility. Again weather phenomena है, war की situation है, लगातार it had been saying that there are 54 wars in the world going on, geopolitical tensions है, currency का लगातार fluctuation है, right? So many things are there at this moment. Third, export restrictions by India itself. India passed bans restrictions on wheat, rice, sugar, onion to control domestic inflation, which hurt the export momentum. Right? Domestic inflation, हम लोग देखते हैं intermediaries जो होते हैं वो लगातार सामान को रख लेते हैं, and there is a demand surge as well. The once there is a demand surge as well of the basic things, right? The price will go high, the inflation will take place. So this has been the mechanism. So for that matter, the government of India thinks that I need to halt for the internal consumption, so that the inflation, the agriculture, price inflation will not, move further. So this is another aspect which is going against the farm export, right? Dependence on few markets and the products. This is again very important thing, right? और मैं आपको बता सकता हूँ that for say one example is dependence on few markets का एक negative example है. Alfonso mango, India used to export to the European Union, and perhaps there was certain during this Brexit time, there was certain tussle or the geopolitical situations against the India was going on. The Alfonso mango was denied entry in the Europe or the Britain just based on the point that it has certain small nuances, right? I don't know the reason, but it was denied, the entry into the Europe, right? So these kind of dependence on the few market, if it is indulged or linked with the geopolitical tensions, create a certified negative impact upon the agri export. और इस सिर्फ हम लोग अल्फांसो मैंगो तक नहीं देखते हैं, ब्राजील की कॉफी के साथ भी हम लोग यही चीज देखते हैं, right? So we need to learn this kind of examples from the other countries perspective as well. Now agricultural trade surplus declining, हम लोगों ने बोला surplus है, पर वो भी लगातार बढ़कर थोड़ा थोड़ा कम होता जा रहा है, right? For seasonal trends in production, structural cons हैं, decline in domestic output in vegetable oils, cotton, rubber increasing import है. जब भारत लगातार GMOs को प्रमोट करने की बात करता है तो इंडिया के अंदर मेक फार्मर स्लेव नाम के लगातार नारे लगने शुरू हो जाते हैं. So plenty of things are there. The lesser the production of the edible oil, that is why the GM mustard was about to be commercialized in India, but again it was not commercialized. The reason was given glufosinate, but that was not the perturbed reason. The European Union has said that glufosinate is fine for us. So now जो glufosinate European Union के लिए ठीक है वो भारत के लिए खराब हो चुका था. So we see that there are so many things, issues interlinked with each other, and that is why it is showing कि भारत के अंदर आज की तारीख में फार्म एक्सपोर्ट लगातार बैठ के कम हो चुका है, right? Now the government scheme, सरकार क्या कर रही है? So first, एग्रीकल्चर प्रोसेस फूड प्रोडक्ट्स एंड एक्सपोर्ट डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी, जो लगातार सर्टिफिकेशन, क्वालिटी ब्रांडिंग, टेस्टिंग, पैकेजिंग, ब्रांडिंग के बारे में लगातार बैठ के काम करती है. सेकंड, ट्रेड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फॉर एक्सपोर्ट स्कीम, इसका काम है कोल्ड चेन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की एक लिमिट बनाना, पैकेजिंग सेंटर बनाना, लैब बनाना, पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट जो लॉस होते हैं उनको लगातार बैठ के रिड्यूस करना. तो दिस हैज बीन दैट पर्टिकुलर पार्ट. नेशनल प्रोग्राम फॉर ऑर्गेनिक प्रोडक्शन, राइट? इट सेट स्टैंडर्ड फॉर ऑर्गेनिक सर्टिफिकेशन. क्यों? Because at this moment the organic products are more in the demand as well, not only in India but to the outer place as well. Third, fourth, export agri export zone and one district one product. Now this one district one product initiative is very important. The government of India is trying to pursue that one district will try to maximize its production in its unique geographical location based fruits or vegetable or whatsoever. This is the main aim of this one district one product. And if will be succeeded, it will definitely be helpful for the agriculture export in near future, right? Now the way forward. First way forward, I told you, the diversify the export basket, right? For say, we need to look into the areas like Latin American countries, certain East Asian countries, right? Second, leverage the trade agreements. For say, the ongoing FTA negotiations for say UK, EU, Gulf countries to secure low tariffs for key farm goods. We need to talk in this manner. We need to boost our value additions as well. Value additions in terms of the process and the packaged foods, right? It has a huge demand in the European Union and the in the North American countries as well. So it will be a great boost. Policy stability. We must not give sudden export bans. Counter duty must not take place, right? Or this kind of the calibrated tariff stock limits must not take place. enhance competitiveness. We need to simplify customer clearance, support exporters through EPIDA's cluster-based approach, and reduce import dependence. Matlab, we need to encourage domestic production of oilseeds, pulses, cotton through MSP incentives and R&D to improve the farm trade surplus. Again, you understand this aspect, although we are talking about the MSP, but in India, MSP in itself is a challenge to maintain between the government and the farmers itself. So many round of talks will take place. So we witness that agriculture in India is a very diversified and a very technical kind of field. Why technical? Because there are so many loopholes, and around more than 70% of the people are quite dependent upon the agriculture. That is why the livelihood dependence on the agriculture is so high. So government suddenly cannot take certain decisions based on like this, right? So this thing ultimately be showing that government need to be very coherent, very rational and prudent, और मुझे लगता है that we need to be with multiple stakeholders before we make certain policy which is linked to the agriculture, including agri export, right? And this is the end, and I hope the topic that we covered, you must have understood this thing in a very right manner, understood well, made notes you as well, and still any problem, feel free to Next IAS, to the team of the Next IAS. All the best, keep studying. Thank you very much.